Hey there! Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Coffee with Connie, where I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership and make sure that your closing process is smooth and simple and you understand things as they're going along. So I love it. You know, I ask you all the time to ask questions. And so I love it when I get questions from people that actually watch what we're doing, or maybe that know me, that know that we're working on trying to be the educator to make sure that you understand what's going on. And I love it when we get questions from the crowd. So yesterday I got a question from a real estate agent that is just blowing the doors off of things right now. And she asked me a question about a common practice that has to do with income taxes in real estate and selling real estate. It's called a 1031 exchange. So if you have a piece of property that you want to sell and it's an investment property, the problem with that is when you go to sell it, the income taxes you're going to pay are based on how much money you actually earned from that property when you sell it. So the income that you received from that sale. So they take out the expenses and they take the sales price out, but then any income that you receive on that, you're going to actually pay income taxes on because it is not your primary residence. It's an investment property. So it's a business. So they're going to charge you income tax on that difference. But if you're selling that property, because let's say that you live in an area where you have an investment property near you, maybe your first house was a townhouse and you decided to upgrade to a bigger house, but you decided to keep that townhouse as an investment property and rent it out. And now you want to sell that townhouse because you're selling your primary residence. Maybe you're moving to another state and you want to buy an investment property that'll be closer to where you're going to be at that point. So you want to be able to sell that townhouse, but you don't want to have to pay income taxes on that income because you want to take that money out of that and just roll it into a different investment property. So there's a way to do that through the income tax laws, and it's called a 1031 exchange. Now, there's some very specific things that have to happen with regard to that exchange. You can't just say, okay, I'm selling this and I want to buy this, so give me a check and I'm going to take the money and move it to this other, I'm going to use it to buy this other investment property. Absolutely not. First of all, you have to understand that IRS says you cannot touch that money. You can't in any way be in control of those sales funds in order for this to work. There's a couple things that have to happen. You have to have somebody that acts on your behalf. You can't even actually sell that property on your own. Someone has to act as your intermediary to handle all of the process of the sale of that property. So you have to hire a third-party person, not the company doing the closing, but a third-party person to take in the funds, to sell the property, take the funds, hold the funds till you find the new property. And then when you find the new property, they sign the paperwork on the new property and transfer the funds to the company who's doing that closing. So you never have access to those funds. There's also some time limits on when those things have to happen. You have to identify that piece of property in a certain time period. And excuse me, something is just driving me crazy here. You have to identify that piece of property within a certain period of time, meaning you have to find it, get it under contract, and actually commit to it. And then you have to close within a certain period of time to meet all the guidelines that IRS requires. So there's some specific rules about how you can do it, and you cannot control those funds whatsoever. So you have to make sure you hire somebody that either does this for a living or is somebody that you know and trust, and it cannot be the company that does your closing for you. That company has to be a third party that has nothing to do with the transaction. So maybe it's your attorney, maybe it's your accountant, maybe it's your best friend, somebody that you know that knows a little bit about this process so that they can take care of those things for you. And they will actually sign the contract on your behalf. They're listed on the closing documents on your behalf, and they're actually transferring, taking the funds and holding them on your behalf until you actually transfer to another property. And usually those funds are held in an escrow account that's not interest bearing, but it depends on the situation and the person. But if they are interest bearing, that interest goes directly to you through that purchase of that new piece of property. So you can do this with as many properties as you want. You can do it as often as you want, but you have to follow those specific rules that are in the IRS code to make sure that the property property that you're selling meets all the requirements, that the process meets all the requirements, and that the property you're buying meets all the requirements. And it doesn't matter if it's state to state, if you're moving from Maryland to South Carolina or from Virginia to Tennessee. It does not matter as long as you're in the United States. But you have to meet the timing requirements, and you have to make sure you don't have any access to any of those funds. And that includes escrow funds. So when you sell a piece of property and you pay your mortgage off, that mortgage actually has been collecting money to pay your taxes and insurance, and that money that's sitting in that escrow account to pay those taxes and insurance will come back to you, and that needs to go directly into that. Also, any money that's held from closing, water escrow, any holdbacks for whatever reasons, those need to go into that exchange money to go towards that new property. So you can't have access to any of those funds. So hopefully that answered that question that I got yesterday. But also, if you have any more questions about that, let me know and we'll delve into it a little bit deeper. I don't want to get too involved with exact timings and things like that, because we can help you answer those questions with specifics to your particular piece of property. But as always, I like to bring up these kind of comments and have these conversations. So hopefully we get you thinking about things. Maybe there's some questions. Maybe you have a piece of property and you've been thinking, wow, I want to sell that because I want to move to another state and I want to take my investment property with me, meaning you want to sell the one here and you want to buy a new one where you're moving to. So there is a way to do that without having to pay income tax on that income that you receive from that property when you sell it. So hit me up, let me know, message me through here. You can reach any of our team members on www.foottetitlegroup.com. There's also all kinds of great resources on there. If you're selling a piece of property, go to the Sellers tab and the Resource tab under that. There's all kinds of information there. There is all kinds of information on the Buyers tab. There is cost calculators where you can calculate your costs right on the website. You just click in there. You do have to register so you can save the information, so you can update it if you want to make changes. And our new feature comes out today. It's actually on the website now, and you'll start seeing an email about it. It is a little story about title insurance and how it isn't just a modern day problem, how it affected President Lincoln. So it's a very interesting little read. You want to go on our website on the homepage and you can download it right there. You can also see it on our social media this afternoon, and you'll start seeing emails about it as well. So hopefully we helped you out with a little bit of information about transferring the property that you're selling, that's an investment property, and how you can get around paying those income taxes. If you have any other questions about anything whatsoever, title, real estate, mortgage involved, I'd love to try to help you out with that. Please reach out to me. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Thanks so much for tuning in to Coffee with Connie. You guys have an amazing day.